Well, after Roe got overturned, Democrats can't go after killing babies anymore, so what's next? Oh yes, I know, protect gay marriage. Well, they got 12 woke senators to do just that.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this is what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo here, another episode of What's Next, your daily dose. Well, being that the Democrats can't kill babies anymore, now it goes by a state-by-state process. Some states are delivering on that promise to continue the death mills, while a majority of the states have enacted protections. What is next on the agenda? What could the Democrats now go after, since they can't go after Roe anymore because Roe's been burned down? What can they do? Well, they seem to think that Republicans are going to go after marriage. No, not man and woman as God intended, but faux marriage, as in gay marriage. Now, no matter what you think on the issue, my opinion, sorry, I don't believe in it. To me, marriage is sacred between one man and one woman. Now, being that said, would it be anybody surprised that you've got 12 knuckleheads in the GOP to vote in favor of quote-unquote codifying gay marriage? Well, you won't be surprised because, yes, they are. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. 12 Senate Republicans vote with Democrats as far left respect for quote-unquote Marriage Act. Marriage Act, yes, you see right there. 12 Senate Republicans voted with Democrats on Wednesday for the far left Respect for Marriage Act. Yes, not respect for man and woman, but respect for other Marriage Act, which is reportedly designed to provide federal protection for same-sex and interracial marriages. Interracial marriages. Clowns. Lawmakers voted in the measure 62-37 after a bipartisan group of senators made changes to the bill that include a clause about religious liberty. With the amendment agreed upon, the bill will go back to the House before it goes to President Joe Manchin. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you this is that it is going to get voted down. The House Republicans will do everything in their power to stifle this thing until they take hold of the House come January 3. I think it's 3 or 4. The White House has expressed support for the measure because, of course, they did. 12 Republicans who voted for this bill include woke senators Blunt, Burr, Maura Caputo, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, Cynthia Lummis, Lisa Murkowski, Rob Portman, Mitt Romney, shocker, Dan Sullivan, Tom Tillis, and Todd Young. Okay, they needed 60 votes. They got 62. The Respect for Marriage Act was introduced following the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. Of course, when they burned Wade down to the ground, they had to go after something else. Due to Democrats' unfounded concerns that Supreme Court could use the Dobbs decision to overrule the court's Obergefell gay marriage decision, which of course one has nothing to do with the other. But then again, we did have Justice Thomas said, you know what? A couple of decisions that we made in haste, like Obergefell, need to be looked at again. And of course, I agree. The measure passed in the House in July with the help of 47 Republicans, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer agreed to postpone a vote until after the midterms so that lawmakers from both sides of the aisle could attempt to address religious liberty concerns. The Marriage Act would repeal Clinton-era Defense of Marriage Act and would require federal government to recognize any marriage. That's right, any marriage. You want to get married to a tree, a bush, weeds, 5 women, 10 guys, it doesn't matter. Or animals. That was valid in a place where it entered into. The bill would also require every state to recognize every same-sex marriage as, quote, valid in the state where the marriage was entered into. As a report from the Slate noted, the bill does not go far enough as Obergefell. In that decision, the Supreme Court directed every state to license same-sex marriage, that is, to issue a marriage certificate to same-sex couples. The Marriage Act does not codify this component of Obergefell. Senate Tammy Baldwin, Sinema, Collins, Portman, Tillis, are responsible for the added amendment entitled No Impact on Religious Liberty and Conscience. That amendment states that nothing in the law shall be construed to diminish or abrogate a religious liberty or nothing. A religious liberty or conscience protection otherwise available to an individual or organization under the Constitution of the United States or federal law, which of course is protection of religious liberty, which is already in the Constitution. Consistent with the First Amendment of the Constitution, nonprofit religious organizations include churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, ministries, ecumenical organizations, mission organizations, faith-based, religious, and nonprofit whose principal purpose is to study, practice, advance of religion. Any employment organization shall not be required to provide services, accommodations, advantages, facilities, goods, privileges for the celebration of a, quote, marriage. It doesn't say gay marriage, it says of a marriage. Yeah, because there's nothing vague about that. Any refusal under the subsection to provide such services, accommodations, or advantages, facility, goods, privileges shall not create any civil claim or cause of action. We'll see how long that lasts. I'm not going to go into an entire bill. The Heritage Foundation, Roger Servino, wrote that the so-called Religious Liberty Amendment will provide nothing that is already guaranteed by the Constitution. Family Research Council President Tony Perkins said the bill opens the door to American persecution. He wrote for the Washington Stand. Not only is his language light years more radical than the justice's ruling 7 years ago, cracking down on parents, charities, adoption agencies, teachers, Christian schools, counselors, and Bible-believing professionals, the government would be declaring open season for anyone who believes in marriage that has always been a union between one man and one woman. There was a lot to the bill, that's why I skipped most of it. But pretty much got the gist. Their so-called religious protections under this Marriage Act does nothing. It really doesn't do anything. That the Constitution already has protections in place for those who are religious. It's right there. So for them to basically say, hey, you know what? We're going to protect marriage, but all you religious people, here's a bone. Here's a bone for you because we're protecting you. We want to make sure that your religious liberties are protected. You know, Christian, Jew, Muslim. We want to make sure that we got your back. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a joke, a scam, a fraud, garbage. Basically, they are desperate. The Democrats are desperate. And of course, when you happen to get 12 woke senators, not surprising to try to, quote unquote, codify marriage. Because you're not codifying marriage. Marriage is already protected under federal law. You are basically, you're basically doing this law to protect a certain segment, a protected class, if you will, of quote unquote marriage. There's only one marriage. And again, I reiterate, one man and one woman. The fact of the matter is you want to run around, with your faux certificate, knock yourself out all day long. But at the end of the day, this will be shot down. As I said in the beginning of this, it will go to the House and the Republicans will put up a huge stink to the point where they will be able to stifle this from going to dementia. And of course, him just signing whatever he's doing because he has no idea what he's doing. But again, more clownery, more chicanery, more desperation by the Democrats. No surprise. And with that, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.